Good. Nice. Like hearing that. Let's roll it. Well, no rain over the weekend. A lot of sun, but no rain over the weekend is the good news. Okay. Decent weather. Who knows? Sun could be in and out. Let's do this. Here we go. Yep. Friday indeed. Nice short week. Not that it matters. Friday, July 7th. Good afternoon, one and all. Hola. Jorge. Eloya. Jorge. Eloya. Jorge. Eloya. All right. Please plug that in. Jorge. Eloya. Jorge. Eloya. Noon Report Live. Good afternoon, one and all. There we go. Where am I? There's Crystal. Hi there, Bruce. Folks, tonight, riding with Mark. Lynn Miller's here, starting 8:30. Hola. Jorge. Eloya. 8:30 tonight. Juan on the scene live stream. Hopefully with accurate information. Why should that stop us? Folks, at 12:06 on this Friday, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show, for better or worse, on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Sun is out. It is a Friday in July. What could go wrong? Good afternoon. Also, everyone tuning in on Facebook. Some people watch it live. Otherwise, okay, it's on demand. Whatever. You could always do, some people do hashtag replay, meaning watching it on replay. Again, someone did ask me, now, what does this mean about demands? No, no, no. On demand is a term used for that you watch it. A good way to describe, just you watch it at your leisure. It's there available. A good example of that is, if you have HBO, well, it used to be HBO Max, now it's just Max. I don't know why you get rid of the letters HBO, but anyhow, um, you watch it whenever it works for you, whatever it is. It's on demand. When you want it, when you demand it, it's there. We operate the same way. So the video on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, but wait, if you ever miss anything, you can go back and watch it. And actually, as someone that does it every single day, more people actually watch it later, whenever. Who knows? People, for different reasons, don't watch it live. It just doesn't work with their schedule. They're watching something else. They're out to dinner. They're out wherever, sleeping. But anyhow, most of the time, especially, well, actually, everything we do, the numbers go way, way up. So you never know. I'm always curious sometimes when we finish something. I can already tell where the numbers are, and sometimes they go and rocket after that. So anyhow, that's what it's there for. I think I explained that. Obviously, folks, I'm aware, and I always say, maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't explain things properly. That's why I'm always open to. Maybe I need to either explain it a different way, or maybe someone else could explain it. We're having a tough time with people understanding the concept of live. That much we've established. I don't know what to do about it exactly. We'll keep trying. I'll keep trying to explain it. Every time I think we've explained it, we um we haven't explained it. So or people aren't absorbing it. I never thought, if people talk to me about, okay, so you're the creator of On the Scene live stream, and what have you learned? How did it start? Challenges, like those types of interviews you do. And the one of the challenges I never thought is people um they can't grasp the idea that it's live. And again, if you're someone that watches it, how many times I'm at a scene, someone is literally watching in their car, and then they start walking up to me, and then they say, "Oh, I didn't know you were live." And then sometimes when I up with people, they say, "Oh, I thought that was like from last night or earlier." You know, in admittedly, when you watch a Patriots game, it's live. I've tried watching like a game when it's over. It's not as enjoyable. Okay, granted, let's just stay with the Patriots for a moment. All right, so maybe it's like a 7-second delay between the NFL and the network, but it's not like that far off. We have two televisions in the house that sometimes, for whatever reason, one of them falls behind the other, and so you can hear the person in the kitchen cheering, and then we're still waiting for the quarterback to hike the ball. But you do have cable news that's live. Local news is live. Granted, minor 7-second delay. So is FB, but that is one of the things I never encountered, and I answer that. And I'm not sure. Very open to try to explain it. I'm not going to dwell. We had a situation where then people think that what I'm posting is it's already happened from the night before, so then we're just posting it because then people say, so what's coming up tonight? That if you went to a baseball game, would you say, so who's going to strike out in the fourth inning? I don't know. Let's like watch the game play out. Um, can you imagine a kickoff? So what's the score at halftime? Gee, I don't know. They haven't kicked off yet. So who's going to score tonight for the Patriot? Gee, I don't know. Maybe they're going to have a great game. Maybe they're going to have a terrible game. But I think that's what it must be. Because again, if you've seen when I'm at a scene, how many times do people come over and they say, "Oh, I didn't realize you were live." And sometimes when I've talked to them, they say, "I thought you had filmed it like hours earlier." And then, so that's one explanation. And then we have the people that I'm not sure what to make of it. If I knew, for instance, that tonight at 6 o'clock, I maybe I'll start posting that for the subscribers. What's happening tonight. We're going to cover homicide at 8:30, armed standoff at 9:30, and then stay tuned. We have a stabbing coming up at 11. Now, a very valid question would be, how do you know that? And the answer is, I don't know that. But much like, and I'm going to get off this in just a second, but I get the people that say, I don't understand. I was watching for 10 minutes and he doesn't say what happened. He doesn't say who are the suspects. He doesn't say if the person in the house or alive is dead. Like, what type of show is this? And what I try to compare it to is for whatever something happens, right? Let's just say, and forget about whether it's Newsmax or Fox or MSNBC or CNN, whoever, but you're flipping around or maybe let's say you're at an airport and on one of the televisions they have on CNN and it says breaking news, Philadelphia shooting. And you do have people come up and what do they say? So what's going on here? Well, we don't know, right? It just happened. They're sending crews to the scene. They're trying to get more information. But in that moment in time, the networks don't know. Many times the police don't fully know. I can't believe I have to explain this, but I have to explain this. And so it would be like someone saying, well, this is the worst show I've ever seen. this just happened, and they don't even know what happened. I mean, it goes that way. That's why, one of the reasons when you see us live at a scene, and let me wrap it up with this, put a bow on it. But someone that I like, if you've ever seen, and I give them credit, Major LePayton, Providence Police, short time ago, behind us, two cars, somebody exchanged gunfire, somebody ended up in the hospital, uh, one of them fatal, one of them blah blah blah, and we're investigating. So, okay, who was in the cars? We're not sure yet. Who was in the other car doing the shooting? We don't know. Where are they now? We don't know. We're looking for suspects. Why did they shoot them? We don't we don't know. We're trying to get security camera, and that's interject the person like, well, this is the worst show I've ever seen. How can you? Because it just happened. One last example, a very good example, and I watched it live. It was Monday Night Football, Buffalo Bills, in Damar Hamlin. And what did ESPN keep doing? They kept going to commercials because they didn't know. You saw players crying on the field. First, they started to replay the injury. Then they stopped replaying the injury when he started to get up and then he fell back down. And it was, what was it? It was an unknown. So I believe, and let me just finish it. It's more of the unrealistic expectation of the individual as opposed to I wasn't blaming. Well, I don't think they should have just kept going to commercials. I think they should have just stayed there, and maybe in the pipeline they could be working on getting a doctor on the line, getting a former whoever. They have a stable and list of people that could then. I mean, for crying out loud, it's Monday Night Football, right? I didn't like they just kept going to commercials because they didn't know what to do. It's like that never happened before. In fact, it was annoying. Just stay with it. CNN, it comes up, school shooting. They don't know. They're trying to figure it out. Many times they're still pursuing the shooter. So, but I realize, the person at 7 o'clock that says, "Well, now what's happening tonight?" It's unrealistic that I would know. I can't believe the world I have fallen into. It's unrealistic that I don't know there's going to be a homicide that night. I don't like everyone else. I don't know what's going to happen that night. But what I'm at loss at, and let me just move on, is the person that somehow thinks that that is a legitimate question. And like I've said, folks, if I had that type of power, I wouldn't be doing a Facebook Live of live stream on the scene live stream. I would be at the nearest racetrack placing bets on the horses that I knew were going to win the race. It's not like Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog Day where he's watching Jeopardy and he starts rattling off the answers because he's watched it 35 times. So anyhow, all right. This portion of the program ah is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. The weather is terrific. Things are really growing out there. And folks, they have delicious vegetables and herbs, annuals, perennials, hangers, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, 12-inch patio pots. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. They're right off of Route 4. Look for them on Facebook. It's Steve and Debbie and Junior and Byron. They're having a fantastic season. Folks, you can't just shop local. And if you're watching at the beach right now, on the way back, stop in and see them. Get some fresh vegetables for tonight. Vegetables and herbs, annuals they have at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center right now. Delicious corn, delicious tomatoes, fantastic fresh peppers and cucumbers. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, as always, visit the website, depetro.com. Brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. It is challenging, and I think some people that like to get involved with On the Scene live stream also learn This is real life. This is, you depend on individuals to provide accurate um, information. So, in otherwise, um, last night, why is that not showing up? Last night we had, um, okay, okay, let's let's do that at like 12:04. Someone said, oh, whatever. I don't want to. I want to move on to what I'm actually going to talk about. So, the situation with the state in this Pawtucket situation, I'll just finish it with this. So, this woman was upset that we were covering her last night, and the reason we were covering her last night is I was told that they were trying to escape from police, and it turns out they were not trying to escape from police. So, so it happens, right? It's happening in real time. I wouldn't have filmed them. I feel bad. Their car, I think, was hit by the person that was eluding police, and that sent them crashing into the car. But the person that provided me with the info, no names mentioned, um, said those are the people that are trying to evade police, and there was a chase, as a matter of fact. So, so first of all, most of the people comment. I didn't see any of the comments. It was not a DUI or texting. The Jeep was speeding, ran a stop sign, smashed into the car. They fled the scene, making it a hit and run. Um, Imagine getting hit by a car and someone you don't know comes up and starts recording you. Well, and I apologize. Well, I was told that you were the ones eluding police. So, anyway, possible. Can you please post there's a missing dog? I guess I could. There's a lot of them, but I'll look into that. Maybe is the answer. Oh, wait a minute. No, not a subscriber. So the answer is no. Now the other thing, just to clarify, I don't do if I did GoFundmes. Well, anyway, if I did GoFundmes every time someone is sending me, can you please share this GoFundMe? The entire page would just be one page of GoFundMes. And I don't do that. We had to make a decision. We don't, because then several years ago when I did share a GoFundMe, it proved to be a fraud. And then these people that gave money to it, they legally start then coming after the chosen one. So I don't get involved with them anymore. And I know all these different people have different stories and things like that. And I wish them the best of luck. You can do various charity things or an event or a fundraiser we'll share, but I don't share GoFundMe's. There's too many fakes out there. Yeah, it is too bad. And it's terrible for the people that truly could use the help. But you can't get involved in everything. You can't get involved in everything. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, and it's brought to you by AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. Now, this is a good time of year, or any time really, you start thinking about let's improve the home. Frame to finished basements, acoustic ceilings, new homes. I share their Facebook page, AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. You can call them at 401 323 9252. Frame to finished basements. It's amazing what they could do with your basement. And then maybe you want a home office, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. Folks, AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. Call them today, 401 323 9252. Free quote, serving Rhode Island and Southeastern Mass. AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. Improve your home. It's too expensive to move anywhere else. Everyone, I get it. Everyone says, boy, I can get a lot of money if I sell my house right now. That's true. But there's a flip side to that coin. And the answer is, where are you going? Then you're overpaying for somewhere else. Folks, instead, just improve your home. AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement, 401 323 9252. I could keep going on and on about the live stream. We will be out tonight. We will be out tonight. Um, And again, it's just, you work through it. I'm not trying to, I don't. I don't try to, I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. I have to laugh because this is the type of stuff I was saying to someone. You guys are going to get me hurt if you give me wrong information, right? I'm not trying to give the Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson speech in A Few Good Men of, if you ignore or don't follow orders, people out. I'm not trying to say that, but we have learned through that, and we try to make light of it. But street names matter. Street names matter. Oh, it was my mistake. It was a similar street name. I know, but that's not what you told us, right? That's why we ended up in Garden City looking for the somebody that fell into the water behind Twin Oaks. It's always funny later, and many times later that night I laugh. In the moment, it's not. Chestnut Street, Chestnut Hill Avenue. Total. You got to admit they sound similar. Absolutely, they sound similar. However, one is near the water, one is off of Cranston Street. I know you meant Chestnut, but as I'm live, I like this. I didn't realize you were live. That is the part I just can't get past. You're watching me. You're seeing me drive. I'm reacting to what you're giving out, and then you say I didn't know you were live. Oh, I didn't realize that. Just like these people. No. Remember the woman in Smithfield? You're not live. This is from earlier. Yeah, this is from yesterday when the car crashed into the subway. You're not live. Get out of here. Oh, you're not live. This is you're showing film from yesterday. Yeah, because the car crashed into the subway and killed someone yesterday. I get it. I get it. These people are nuts. But oh, I didn't know you were live. What do we call it again? Live stream. That's right. I like the person. No, what you're watching is from last night. The shooting was from last night. No, it's it's going on right now. I I'm telling you folks, it's hurdles, but we get past them. We get through them. Okay, they meant Chestnut. They said Chestnut Hill. It was Midwood, not Midway. Midway. If he's in the water, follow me to Garden City. Hey, these things happen. Last night, those are the people the police have been chasing. Oh, wait a minute, they're not. Ah, good thing Juan wears tactical gear. You know what else is interesting to me, though, is the people that it's one thing if they're just doing it, but this is what I mean about like people that make predictions or things like that. What there's no skin in the game, meaning there's no consequences, right? Like the people that say, guarantee you, they're gonna win. But like, what does that mean? What is that worth? It doesn't mean it. I'll bet you that will never happen. Okay, let's bet. There's no skin in the game. And I recognize that they go along and they don't realize, like, oh, wow, he is really going to that location. Oh, wow, the people are pulling a weapon on him because told, I told him that that was who the police were chasing. Oh, wait a minute. Folks, it comes back to, and I swear I'm moving on after this, but it is the best. It's from Young Frankenstein, right? So, so that's not the brain of Hans Blooper, who's the genius. No. Okay? Whose brain is it? Abby something. Abby something. Yes, I think on the jar it said Abby normal. Abnormal. I put an abnormal brain in Frankenstein. That is what it is like. And last night there were no F bombs. There were no F bombs. All right, folks. I'm going to talk about McCoy. I swear I'm going to talk about McCoy. This portion of the John DePetro show, it's brought to you by Propane Plus. Now listen, more and more people are using propane. And I fully understand why, and I've explained it. If you use propane, this is my request. I implore you to call the Johnson family, huge supporters of the Chosen One, at Propane Plus, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. Propane Plus, heating and cooling, 3 generations. They're available 24/7 for service and delivery. It's Propane Plus. Call them today. You just go to their website, residential, commercial. Call Propane Plus today at call them, or you just go to their website and you type in your zip code and they'll give you a free quote. Propane Plus, 401-885-4209, or in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. You can depend on Propane Plus. And remember, with propane truly is. It is affordable, it's sustainable, it's energy for everyone. It's equitable, it's good for the environment, lowest carbon fuel, it's renewable, and it's being made. Food side Propane Plus, and they are the leader without question. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show, The Chosen One, on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I do want to touch on, because the story did take off yesterday. The situation with McCoy Stadium. I'll tell you the problem, one of the problems. Before I do that, though, I do want to just follow up. So yesterday, I got tipped off. Okay, something's going on. There's a raid at Johnston. So, you know, it was just one of those things. I normally would have been right there. I could not be right there. And then when I went after the program, they had left. But we did learn federal charges had been filed, Johnston man, following the seizure of 2 firearm silencers, one of which was attached to a rifle in a lightning link, a device used to turn semi-automatic rifle into an automatic weapon. So U.S. Attorney went after him. Feds, Homeland Security, Alessio DeAndre, 27. He's going to be in court at 2 o'clock. Federal criminal complaint, possession, unregistered firearm silencer. Listen, there's no way you do that to these weapons for legitimate purposes. There's no way. How about this? Unlicensed transportation of a machine gun from foreign commerce. So this guy was trying to sell machine guns out of his home in Johnston. According to the charging document, June 14th, U.S. Custom Border Protection intercepted a parcel shipped from China addressed to DeAndre, found to contain an AR-15 Lightning link. The seized Lightning is classified as a machine gun by ATF, modifies semi-automatic function capability of an AR-15, rendering it capable of firing as an automatic weapon. Possession, transfer, unregistered, prohibited by National Firearms Act. This guy's in a lot of trouble. A court-authorized search of the residence yesterday by agents of Homeland Security, ATF, Johnston Police Department, 27 firearms, mix of handguns, shotguns, rifles, 2 firearm silencers. One was attached to a rifle, and an investigation revealed 2 silencers were not registered to him, rendering their possession illegal under federal law. This guy's in a lot of trouble. This is a jail case. You got the feds on you. They go through, it's merely an accusation, blah, blah, blah. This guy's in a lot of trouble. And what's dangerous about this, folks, is where I really have a problem with this is, stay with me. This is not Second Amendment. And I'm not even going to tolerate that type of stuff. The people that use those types of weapons are criminals. Here's the question you have to ask. Do you want law enforcement? Do you want our local police, whether it's Johnston or Providence or Woonsocket or Pawtucket or Cranston or whoever, do you want them dealing with a situation where they're dealing with criminals that have machine guns and silencers? That is not, Second Amendment. That is not Second Amendment by any case. Yeah, that's right. I don't know if we'll have to wait on the Johnston's on working press. But no, this guy he's in a lot of trouble. He's not I don't know this individual. Someone told me they thought somehow another family member worked in government. I'm not sure. This guy is 27 years old. Homeland Security and the feds intercept a shipment like this from China to Johnson. Guy's in a lot of trouble. I can't believe the trouble. A friend of mine who's very, very knowledgeable with these types of crimes was like, "Wow, this guy's in a lot of." I mean, this is not okay. Let out with a warning. Hey, maybe some people say, maybe federal prison's not that bad. He's about to find out. How? And you're dealing with Homeland Security and the feds. How many people beat those cases? None. Whoever the hell he's going to get for an attorney. There's no deal. Hey, well, they'll plea it out, but that is a serious jail case. All right, I'm going to touch on McCoy now. I'm going to touch on McCoy. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with McCoy in the situation. This portion of the program brought to you by Falcon Pest Services. Now, one of our followers, viewers, listeners had a meese problem or a mouse problem. So they said to me, now, Juan, there's someone you recommend. Falcon Pest Services. It's my understanding John was over there, I think yesterday. First, they called them 401-739-1322. It's her and her mom, and they have a mouse problem. And where are they? How to get rid of them, and everything that goes along with it. And it's my understanding, I'll follow up with John, but they were on premises, and you're setting the traps, and you got to get rid of it. Mice can be very damaging. They get into your home, and they multiply like crazy. So maybe that's you. Maybe you have a mouse problem. And maybe someone says, oh, it's just a little, yeah. Normally, there's not like one little mouse. One little mouse leads to like five, can lead to 10. They can destroy your home. And they also, by the way, bring in all types of diseases and don't put up with it. And the same thing, maybe get your yard sprayed. Mosquitoes, with all this rain and the humid weather, the mosquito season's going to be really bad. So whether it's mice or ants, a friend of mine contacted me. What's that number? They're renting out, I think, a beach house. And so they went to Stop and Shop. They loaded up. First morning, they go into the pantry, ready to start the week. There's ants crawling all over the food. I'm not laughing. That they bought. It's all in the cereal. It's all over everything. Um, Falcon Pest Services. Call them. If you're a landlord or you have an ant problem or mice or mosquitoes or rats, yeah, termites, bedbugs, Falcon, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Call John and Kelly. I shared their Facebook page, 401-739-1322. Free quote, Falcon Pest Services, 401-739-1322. Now, problem with the McCoy situation. I kind of like stories like this. I want to give credit to, first of all, on the one hand, it's so sad. The Providence Journal used to have all of our sports reporters, as a matter of fact, all of our sports reporters, they used to cover, Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots, Celtics. Now it's all the high school stuff. I spoke with someone recently who used to be a sports reporter and recently left television sports and said, listen, I went into this to cover games at Fenway, to cover, at least it was games at McCoy, right? Cover the Friars, that's one thing. But not too excited about they send me to cover a high school volleyball game or what have you. So, but that is the state of things. So the Providence Journal came out, pretty interesting story regarding this guy that has, just parachuted in from nowhere, although he should have been on the radar because he was very generous with URI. And it's really simple. I fully believe the mayor of Pawtucket, Don Gravian. And as I was saying earlier, I get it. They were exploring different things, and no one would step up. And the Paw Sox left because they were getting shaken down. They call it the Rhode Island Shuffle. and I'll tell you exactly what it was, whether it was Mattiello or the rest of the folks, they're like parasites. And they say, you got to hire this land guy, and you got to hire this person, you got to hire this person. And the people, you got to do a land study, right? So you go to hire a land person. They tell you to use a land person. And the person that wants, that they're saying, use the land, you got to use this company, these guys for a land study. And they charge 3 times what it would cost from someone else. So then they go back to Mattiello. Mattiello's like, I told you to use these guys. Why do you think that is? Because the money's flowing, right? Mr. Green is being passed around. Then they say, well, you got to use this attorney. And then they talk to that attorney. They're like, this guy's like 5 times the cost of these other attorneys we want. And then from the State House, they're like, no, you got to use why do you think? Because the money's being kicked back. So there's several takeaways here. Number one, notice McKee isn't even weighing in on this. This very successful business person who has a son, that's a win. The son's excited about it. This guy kind of puts himself on the line. He's with Chris Herron, his son. They're at McCoy, and he tells the Journal story. Yeah, you can go public with this. Now he's kind of in play. Now his ego's in play. He's like, you know what? I will be the hero. I'll buy the stadium, and yeah, I like the way this story sounds. Father and son, we're gonna save this thing. That is like an unbelievable golden opportunity. This isn't. Let's talk about what it's not. It's not like 10 people and shareholders. It's not, the guy that says, okay, but I want 30 million in state money. It's not the Tidewater guy it's a scam, right? The Fane Tower was a scam. The Superman building, that guy, it's not that. This guy, you gotta, there's an element, you gotta strike when they're hot. Anyone that knows anything about sales, they can then get cool on a deal. They get cool on a deal. Think of if you're on vacation and somehow you think, you know what? Yeah, why not? Your kids want to, let's rent a boat for the day. Yeah. And then blah, blah, blah. Well, when you go to the rental, if they start saying, well, wait a minute, it's da da da, and then hurdles, and it's going to be 3 times the cost, and you can't get it till then, and you got to do this, and if they start putting those things up, the enthusiasm starts to wane, and then you then say, you know what, forget. Like you got to catch them just as they're ready to go, right? So if I used to work a cash register in a grocery store, and you have the things right by the counter. So just as they're going to check out, they're grabbing different things. It, if someone's asking for something and they have to go all the way back into the store, what do they normally say? Ah, forget it. Forget it. They'll grab it right there. You got to go like that. How many times does that happen? Think of your own buying habits. You think, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's splurge. There's a thing called auction hangover. When you're in an auction, when you're in an auction, and I've been involved with some of those, the moment, first of all, they want all your information up front. Because what happens? You have people that they go to an auction. And then, why do you think they serve alcohol? They're drinking wine. They're with their friends. They get caught up in the whole thing. They're bidding, right? And the next thing they know, sold. You just bought an $80,000 sailboat. Yeah, they're all celebrating. Okay, the next morning they wake up and they're like, what did I buy? Um, there's auction hangover. If you've ever been involved with an auction for charity or whatever, the next day there's all these people that try to get out of it. They try to get out of it. They get caught up in the moment, and boom. And by the way, that's why it's designed a certain way. That's why it's like in an auction setting. That's why I don't understand something like the silent auctions, because it's the live auction where people get caught up. You know, 50, 50. Can I get 55? Can I 55? 60, 60, 60. Like, you get the people in that. There's a rhyme and reason to that. So, but you got to capture them when they're hot for the deal. So Nemea Grabian, who was praised, by the way, by the Paw Sox, he's in a tough spot because now it's not he's trying to. I think it's very interesting that this businessman that's come along in Pawtucket, folks, look at the red flags. He has no interest in the Tidewater scam. That's a scam. That's a scam. That's a scam McKee used to get the unions to ballot harvest for him. Period. It's ludicrous. A 150,000, the most expensive minor league soccer stadium in the country. They don't even have a team. It's all, he has no interest in that. Where Mayor Grabian really misses the boat is, oh, maybe you'd be more interested in some other investment opportunities that we have in Pawtucket. He has no interest in that. It's the McCoy. It's the history of the Paw Sox. It's the folklore of baseball. It's what happens when the new owners came in. They were going to knock down. They were going to get out of Fenway Park, and they were going to build a brand new stadium by the waterfront. And then people start, oh, you can't do this. They should have done it. You can't do this, and the nostalgia, and it's Fenway, and blah blah blah. Look at Yankee Stadium. Yeah, that was nice. We're going to build a new one right next to it. Look at the Gillette Stadium. Was anyone saying, oh, we got to keep Foxborough Stadium? There were aluminum benches. So, but you have to capture that. But Gravian, and again, it's not against him because the Paw Sox said he couldn't have done more. But notice McKee's not weighing in because, see, here's the problem. They already have a deal that the laborers are already on target to build a $330 million high school there. And this guy wants to rehab McCoy. He wants to bring in a team. The real win here would be you try to do both. If this guy, now this is a player. This isn't the real estate idiot with the Superman building. This isn't the Tidewater Landing is a scam. That is moronic. McKee misled people to get them to agree to that stadium. This guy has real money. And he's already put down real money at URI. So that's what his son wants. You get it? Like, I know friends that they got loaded one night and they ended up like buying a bar or whatever, like that type of thing. So he's with Heron and he's with the son, and they're like, let's buy this, let's buy the stadium. And they're caught up in it. Like, you don't find a way to make that work. I noticed McKee staying away from it. I think it should become an issue in the CD1 race. By the way, speaking of that, I'm looking right now at a poll that has come out. Ruggenberg 22%, Matto 17%, Gabe Amo 8%, Don Carlson 3%, not sure is 48%. That's quite a poll. It's kind of where I thought it was going to be. I'm curious to see this race has started with Aaron Ruggenberg Matos. That Don Carlson, Gabe Amo, they have a lot of work to do. Possible. But the real story, hey, listen, sometimes these things, they don't make sense. I know the story. There was a guy in Atlanta, and he was driving to church one Sunday, and all of a sudden, this is years ago, in the 80s, he suddenly came to him, and he lived in Atlanta, and he thought, let's get the Olympics. Let's get the Olympics. And he just started putting that in motion. And what happened? And they did bring the Summer Olympics to Atlanta. So there have been situations where you gotta, and there's gonna be hurdles. This guy's worth the meeting. I am at a loss to understand how you're the mayor of Pawtucket. Maybe he doesn't know all the details, right? The guy seemingly was in Rhode Island. I would imagine, sounds like he has a private jet. Like, let's get in front of him. Let's get him more excited about this, whatever that may be. So let's not blow him off. He doesn't need state money. He wants to refurbish McCoy and turn it into this tremendous story, but he's very clear he doesn't want the Rhode Island politics. Governor McKee is all about the Rhode Island politics. Governor McKee says, fine, he's interested. Have him call Jerry Shahazian. They can do a fundraiser. We'll have lunch at McCoy. He can write me, excuse me, at the Capitol Grill. We'll have them. We'll have some lobbyists contact him, and he doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want the Rhode Island BS. He likes the idea of I want to help the people. This sounds there's a great line in Moneyball where they say, how can you not love baseball? Like it struck a chord with them. The history, and it is a shame and sad that it's going to be torn down. But look what he's up against. He's up against I don't know about the mayor, but notice no one else is jumping in. How come Commerce didn't know about this guy? So this is a black guy, but we know the answer. What he's saying is, I don't want to deal with the guy that's under an FBI probe. Governor McKee, as I have stated to you folks, the guy, he couldn't do more possible damage. He's putting out all these tweets. We're giving loans to local business. We're helping small business, blah, blah, blah. Governor McKee is operating more in a socialist type society. I knew he was doing damage. It's hard to underestimate the amount of damage that Governor McKee is doing. He's not. If he it's a shame. Helena Folks could deal with this individual, I think. Um, if think of I'll give you another example. You're at Disney. Why do you think, there's so many, who do they look for at Disney? They're looking for the grandparents with the young children that say, I want that and I want that. And, they're there and they have the credit card. I know someone that's in the funeral business. Hear me out, folks. And they have a casket. They call it the Cadillac. It's gold. I think it costs more than 50,000. More than 50,000, and it's a gold plated casket. It's more than 50,000, and the person told me they usually sell about 3 a year. And the casket it's a child most of the time. Traditionally, they live out of state. They didn't come back the last Christmas. They didn't go back the last Thanksgiving. They're totally caught off guard. They have a flood of guilt that while they moved to Los Angeles and started making this money, and they weren't flying back to see, the mother, the father, whoever. And then suddenly, like, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened. They passed away. And they go rushing to the funeral home. And in that moment, they say, I want the best of the best. Well, the best casket we have is this one. I'll take it. How much? 90,000. My mother deserves the best. Like, this will now take care of the Thanksgiving and Christmas and her birthday that I didn't come back. So he told me we sell about 3 a year. It's always, if they hear there's a successful child lives out of state, parent died suddenly, it's like, make sure you show them the Cadillac. That's who buys it. So with this particular businessman, he's with his son. It's summertime. It's not January, February. They're at McCoy. Like, hey, I'll buy it. Yeah, let's refurbish it. Well, yeah, like you have to bottle that. You don't give the guy hurdles. You don't say, "Oh, it's too late." Oh, unless they're playing hardball with him. But you find a way. Forget the Tidewater thing. Well, he doesn't want that. That's a scam. This guy has real money. Tidewater clown it's a scheme, is what it is. Oh, God. Folks, there's that great line, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. I wish you'd luck. I would wish you luck, but you wouldn't know what to do with it. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They wouldn't know what to do with it. All right, I'm going to call Marie in a moment on this Friday. Folks, again, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I also just want to make this is a joke that this whole business they can't figure out the cocaine. I mean, it's just who brought the blow into the White House. You should be able to figure that out pretty quickly. Um, I'm also seeing locally Taylor Swift, this woman that showed up again at her house, Rhode Island woman. What is this other story though? It is a little hot on the world. We can run world better. We'll take care of your old. Bots promise they won't steal jobs, rebel against humans. That's getting interesting. How do they not know how that the blow got into the White House in the West Wing? I don't believe I don't believe that. Come on. What? I don't we may never find out, but the Secret Service they don't know. Then we need a new Secret Service. Then we need a new Secret Service, and we need new security at the White House if they can't figure that out. Because I don't believe that. Of course they know this. So what exactly has been going on there with all the cameras and the security and everything else? You can't get in there. Folks, how about this? This headline in the Globe. Driver privilege cards for illegals of 5 states, including Rhode Island, are now invalid in Florida. Do you see the pattern? Florida is rebelling against illegals having driver's licenses. If you go to Florida and you're an illegal, you can't drive with the new Rhode Island driver's license that Sabina Matos is attacking DeSantis. They're just embarrassing. They're just embarrassing. They have no sense. None. No sense of how to conduct business. But folks, I go back to just remember, of course, drive privilege cards for undocumented, including Rhode Island, now invalid in Florida. Of course it is. But as I have told you, McKee was not the choice. McKee was not the choice. Sabina Matos was not the choice, and Seth Magaziner was not the choice. People wanted Mayor Fung, Aaron Gukian, 1 day of voting, Helena Folks, Bonanno Folks, 1 day of voting. That's who the voters wanted. But because of our ridiculous voting measures, of which the Republicans at the Rhode Island State House have done nothing to combat, we are stuck with them. We're stuck with people who the voters don't want. And how bad is it? It's so bad that when a guy shows up with real money, but he's very clear, he doesn't want to have lunch with Jerry Shage. He doesn't want to have to hire Jeff Britt as a lobbyist. He doesn't want the sleaze patrol. He doesn't want to have, he just wants to do business cleanly in the state. He has no interest in being grilled by McKee. He doesn't want to get involved in a pay to play. He wants to operate McCoy Stadium and not deal with all the McKee sleaze. And they're very clear. Look at how much they'd rather pass on his money than try to do business with someone like that. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because folks, it's as I've told you, people with real money. If you have real, you don't want to deal with McKee. You don't want to deal with Tony Silva. You don't want to deal with Jerry Shazian. You don't want to deal with the whole sleaze factor of you got to go to the Capitol Grill. You've got to write checks to have lunch with them. McKee's like, I'll meet with them for a price. Like they're such clowns. They don't understand who has the power and who doesn't have the power. And it's going to hurt everybody. But they view someone like this as a pawn, as someone that they view this individual as like someone that stumbles into a tourist trap, right? You get off the bus in Times Square, and you're like, yeah. Folks, joining us on the line right now on this very hot Friday is the Queen of Health. It's Marie. Good afternoon, Marie.
Good afternoon, John.
Well, Marie, summer is here. It's very hot. I'm sure you have some nice products. Number one, could keep people hydrated. And number two, some nice tea that people could enjoy.
For sure. This is the time of year for iced tea and for making sure that you have all of your electrolytes.
And what would you suggest for someone that wants to make sure they stay hydrated?
So we do carry some drops that are electrolytes that you can just put into water. And then we also have some powders that are flavored that you can just put into your water.
Folks, again, we're speaking of Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Marie, Ernie hurt his back in the garden. Do you have any hemp or CBD product that maybe could help his back?
We do. We have some topical things that you can put on, and we also have the CBD in liquid form that you can put, you can take orally. But we also have arnica that can be really good, both an oral and topical that can be good for backs. And if you're getting the spasms, then definitely taking some magnesium can help.
Folks, she's the queen of health. It's Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Marie, what are your hours on this Friday, and what about for Super Saturday?
We'll be here today till 5:30 and tomorrow from 9 to 4.
You're the queen of health. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you again. Folks, it's John depetro. Stay tuned for the 1 o'clock news. We have another hour to go right here on the John depetro Show. Stay with us.